Alright, so today we're talking about how to build a practice routine you'll actually stick with. So, the question that you might have is, what's the best practice guitar routine? Well, my friend, it's the one that you will actually do. My name is Adam, and I've been teaching guitar for almost 2 decades. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's consistency beats complexity. Hands down, every single time. You don't need a perfect routine, you just need one that flows with who you are. So my friend, this is why most practice routines fail. A lot of players fall into this trap of thinking that they need to copy someone else's routine, someone else's schedule. 5 minutes of scales, 10 minutes of chords, and 15 minutes of songs. And they do that for a bit and they wonder why they get burnt out after like a week of doing that. See, the truth is, if your practice routine doesn't feel like you, it's gonna feel like a chore. And the moment that your life gets busy, which believe me, it always will, the routine that you built is going to completely disappear. So let's start with the most important question. What kind of routine are you actually going to be consistent with? For me, I like to begin each day with a little meditation. Nothing fancy, but I want to take a moment to clear my mind and to shift into the presence of myself as well as the music. So I'll pick up the guitar and I'll start with something very unstructured, usually just something loose like a scale or a chord noodling around the guitar, some slow improvisation. But I'm not really trying to play anything fast or perfect at this point. I'm just basically waking up my hands and my ears. And there's a couple different types of practice that I do. There's organic flow versus structured practice. So from there I might move into arranging a song. And that might include listening to the song, figuring out what the chords are and the melody, and getting the feel, the groove, and experimenting with different ways to combine them into the fingerstyle arrangement. And this part of my practice is very exploratory. There's a lot of freedom to create and really just try new things without fear of consequences. But once I've gotten something that I kind of want to keep, I have to shift into a more focused phase. For me, this means working with a metronome, checking my phrasing, making sure that the feel and the melody are accurate but also playable. I usually like to simplify things when I can because I'm not into just making it hard for hard's sake. If I can make it easier and musical still, I will. And that's a practical mindset. It just keeps me moving forward and not trying to win any awards here on the most technically challenging arrangements. We're just trying to make something that sounds good and musical. Here's something that almost nobody talks about. Your environment is part of your practice routine. So if you keep your guitar in the case, instead maybe put it on a stand or hang it on the wall. Make it visible. You want to set up your space so the barrier to entry to practice is absolutely zero. You don't want to have 5 steps before you can even play a note. You want to just be able to sit down and start playing. So that alone can change your entire relationship with practice. But you also have to know yourself. Are you more on the side of structure or more on the side of flow? Right? Because just as important as your space is knowing your own style. Some of us thrive with a calendar and a checklist, but others need to have more of an open invitation or a moment of inspiration. Both of these are valid as long as you're consistent. You see, the key is noticing what actually works for you. If you put your guitar out and you're still not picking it up even though you've walked past it 10 times that day, there might be some resistance that you haven't noticed yet. Like a subconscious block in your mind that's telling you, I don't really want to practice. This doesn't feel good. Right? Because your routine should invite you into it. It should not repel you. So once you've established a practice routine that works for you and you sit down to practice, what should you practice? Well, for me, I have 3 pillars of practice. The first is technique. This is building control, coordination, and freedom of movement, right? This sometimes is technical, nitty-gritty stuff that most people struggle with in the beginning. This can take up a large chunk of your practice, but we don't want to let it get out of hand because there's more. The second is ear training. Ear training is actively listening, recognizing intervals, chords, and melodies, and how they all have a gravitational pull, training our ears to feel that gravitational pull of where the notes are taking us. This is training your intuition, if you will. The final phase, or the final pillar, is musicality. Now this is highly tied into ear training, but this is your phrasing, your feel, your emotion, and how you can tell a story with your instrument. This is something that will evolve over time, all these elements, right? You're going to want to build up those three pillars together so that way as a whole musician you're going to evolve evenly. And you don't have to separate these into chunks. You can design exercises or routines that will touch on all three of these or flow seamlessly through them. But every practice session should engage your hands, your ears, and your heart. So now I'd like to introduce to you the Soul Signature framework. So this is where the Soul Signature idea comes from. You have this natural learning style, a kind of musical fingerprint that shapes how you take in information and how you stay motivated and how you make progress. I've identified 8 of these archetypes, and if you haven't taken the quiz yet, you can do that for free using the link below. But it will show you your primary archetype, and from there, I'll guide you through a practice routine that actually fits your style. But look, at the end of the day, your routine doesn't have to be super rigid. It just needs to be honest. Something that you can return to again and again without burning out. It should be enjoyable for you. The whole idea is the more honest you can be with yourself, the quicker you're going to find what actually is working. So if you're ready to build a guitar practice routine you actually love, start by understanding who you are. Take the quiz, find out your archetype, and then watch your personalized practice routine video. I'll meet you there.